Let's get some social media reaction to the big news of the day. The National Baseball Hall of Fame tweeting this out. Welcome to Cooperstown, Jim Leyland. We've heard from the Detroit Tigers, the Pittsburgh Pirates, sending their congratulations to what is now a Hall of Fame manager. This from the Miami Marlins. Congrats, King. Jim Leyland is heading to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and we are honored to welcome the newly elected Hall of Fame manager, Jim Leyland, to our show. Jim, congratulations from all of us here at MLB Network. How do you put into words what that moment was like for you when you received the phone call?
Well, they give you an itinerary of what's going to happen if you potentially get in, which they told me they would be calling between 6:30 and 7:15, and it was 10 minutes to 7, so I figured that I was certainly not going to get in, but I got the call about 10 minutes to 7.
Hey, Jim, congratulations, man. I tell you what, I was talking earlier in the show today that all the things that you did, you resurrected all these organizations. And that, to me, solidified why you should be a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to ask you what cap you're going in. I want to ask you to take a minute and just talk about each stop. Pittsburgh, Florida, Detroit, all the way to Colorado. What each one of those stops meant and what you were trying to do when you were there.
Well, Pittsburgh was my first stop. Obviously, they gave me my first opportunity, and we were obviously in a rebuilding situation. They had lost, I think, 105 games the year before, so that was a stepping stone to my career is in Pittsburgh when we eventually won 3 divisions. I moved on after 11 years and went to the Florida Marlins, where Dave Dombrowski, the now general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, put together a pretty good team, obviously, and we went on to win the World Series. Leaving Florida, I had a misstep. I did not do a good job in Colorado, which I've apologized for many times. I just didn't do a very good job. I went to work for Walt Jocketty with the St. Louis Cardinals for 6 years, helping Tony La Russa out in spring training. And then I ended up back where I originally signed in Detroit in 1963. I ended up back with the Tigers as their manager. So I signed with them in 1963, and I finally got to Detroit in 2006, so I waited a long time.
Jim, I want to ask you about your friendship with Hall of Famer Tony La Russa. How did he impact what is now your Hall of Fame managerial career?
Well, I've said this a million times. Tony didn't make me a manager, but he made me a major league manager. I managed against Tony in the minor leagues when Tony ended up getting the job halfway through the season with the White Sox. He was at Des Moines. I was at Evansville. So like I said, he's the guy that made me a major league manager. And the other guy that I just have to mention is Gene Lamont. He was a right arm for me my entire career. We were roommates in 1966 in Lakeland, Florida, both catchers. Gene, a former #1 pick. Just my right arm throughout my entire career for the most part. So those two guys were very influential.
Hey, Jim, the other morning on Hot Stove, we were talking about who might get in, and Tony took it like I didn't think you were a Hall of Famer. He aired me out. I'm just letting you know he had your back. The timeout. We know he's a Hall of Fame manager. So I say that to say, what player would have your back right now and sit there and say, yes, he's a Hall of Fame manager? What player comes to mind first?
Well, Sean Casey's called me. Marcus Timms texted me. So many players have texted me already. I got about 84 text messages already, and I don't even know how to text, so I'm in trouble, I think. But it's just, so many players. But I'm going to the Hall of Fame because of the players, like every other manager does, if you want to know the truth. It's all about the players. The players in Pittsburgh uplifted me. They did some great jobs. We won 3 straight divisions. You go to Marlins, you win the World Series. In Colorado, I'm proud to say, although I didn't do a good job, I was Larry Walker's manager, and I didn't do a very good job. But and then coming back to Detroit, Pudge Rodriguez played for me, and several other great players in Detroit, like Miguel Cabrera, Maglio Ordonez, Placido Polanco. When you go to the Hall of Fame as a manager, somewhere along the line, you've been blessed with a lot of great players. And that's why I'm on this call with you guys tonight.
Jim, you really hold your emotions close to the vest. The players that know you absolutely adore you. I asked you what the emotions were like. You kind of just gave me the literal timing of when the call came. But nothing's guaranteed in life, right? I mean, Lou Piniella fell 1 vote short again. Cito Gaston did not get elected in. Neither did Davey Johnson. You got the call. You're going to be in Cooperstown. Your legacy cemented in this great game. There's got to be some sort of emotion that overcame you when that reality set in, right?
Well, there definitely was. I was actually up in my bedroom lying on my bed. I was sitting in the living room earlier with my family, and I just felt like I was not going to get the call. I just wanted to get away a little bit and be by myself because I did not think I was going to get the call. My son came up to the bedroom and said, listen, don't worry about it. You still got a little bit of time left. And about 2 seconds after that, the phone rang. So, I was shocked. I was surprised. I was flattered. I can't thank, first of all, the people that put me on the ballot. And second of all, the committee that voted for me. You never know how this works. I didn't really expect to get in or not get in. I didn't know how this was going to play out because I'm really not that familiar with it. But, to be elected and somebody said I got 15 votes, that's mind-boggling to me. But I'm certainly very appreciative. And I can't thank baseball enough. It's been my life, and I owe a lot of this to the game itself. So, I'm very proud, very touched, very flattered, and very humbled, to be honest with you.
Hey, Jim, you've done so much in the game, obviously a Hall of Fame manager, but after the game, your impact on the game as well, even going back and managing the WBC. Watching Bruce Bochy win this year, Dusty Baker last year, I'm curious what the role of the manager is now and how you might see that. Is it starting to change? And what should we know about that seat being the manager? What should his role be?
Well, I think you saw Dusty in the postseason for quite a while now, obviously, and winning the World Series 2 years ago. And now Bruce Bochy coming back as a veteran manager, 4 World Series, which is unbelievable. I think there's room for the veteran managers. I truly do. I think I like to always say that I'm old, but I'm not old school. There's always a place to learn, explore some different things, different avenues that could help the game, make your team better. I call it information. People today call it analytics. And I don't certainly tell anybody how to run their organization. So, but those two guys, I think it proved out that some guys that have been around a while and managed a lot of games, they have a pretty good idea what they're doing.
So you're saying if someone calls, you're going to manage?
No, that's for sure. No, what a fling it was. It was probably the worst, best job I've ever had in my life because you're dealing with other people's players and up a little early in spring training. You're so nervous that they're going to, get hurt and stuff. But it turned out great for the USA.
Well, Jim, before we let you go, putting together a Hall of Fame speech can be overwhelming. Unlike other previous elected Hall of Famers, Dan Plesac, your former player, does a spot-on impersonation. So if you need to tap out at any point in that speech, he could come in, and it sounds just like you.
Yes, I would like to have Plesac right by my side. I think good job. I think he'd probably give a better speech than I would. So that would be great to have Dan there and a few other players I've had over my career. I'm very grateful for the players. All the respect in the world for how good those guys really are.
Man, Jim, I wish I could have played for you, man. I've heard so many great things. You'd been my manager. I'd have loved to play for you. Congrats on the Hall of Fame. It is definitely well-deserved. We appreciate it. Thank you for the time. This is awesome.
Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.